I have it.
You've what, Tara?
I have the top 10 bass players.
You have the top 10 bass players.
Yeah.
You can't.
Why?
Because I have the top 10 bass players.
It's a top 10 bass player shootout.
Hello everybody, welcome to our new video. Today we're going to be doing a top 10 bass player shootout. Now Tara thinks she has the top 10 bass players. I think I have the top 10 bass players. And I think I'm cleverer than her.
He probably has a better list than me because he is a bass player. So he understands.
I was a long time ago.
He still is.
I was a long time ago. Always a bass player, never a bass player. We're always in that low end of bass players, kind of thinking in that.
So his list is probably a lot more kind of technical than me, I'd say. But I'd say we cross over a few times anyway, but this is just our opinion.
Don't sell yourself short, Tara, because like what we'd like you to do is in the comments, say who's got the best top 10 bass players. I know I will. Okay, I'm going to go first, because I always go first. Or do you want to go first?
I don't mind.
If I go first, you get to go last and have the last say.
Okay.
I know she likes that. Okay, so my number 10. I can't believe he's so low. I can't believe most of these guys are so low, like, because they're all brilliant, like, you know. It's Norman Wroy that used to play with Ian Jury's Blockheads. Like, what a bass player. I can remember listening to this guy when I was young and kind of going, oh my God. I think he was one of the guys that got me into bass playing. A lot of groove, kind of funky, jazzy. This guy has everything, you know. Bit of an overlooked master of the bass, so that's my number 10, Norman Wroy.
And my number 10 is Jimmy Bain of Rainbow. Often very overlooked, we forget about him quite a lot. And shout out to my best friend Fiona for bringing me this back from her travels around Asia. I think it was more of an apology for leaving me for 5 weeks, but it works.
Great t-shirt there. Yeah. At least the colour palette is right, mine's a bit off.
But yeah, absolutely great bass player. He's just able to fit in so well with Cozy Powell, who's a very, very good drummer, and to be able to kind of hold that groove with him must have been very difficult. So fair play, Jimmy. Yeah. That's my number 10.
Yeah, he's rock solid on that album, Jimmy Bain's fantastic. Okay, my number 9, and I can't believe he's number 9. My God, it's John Entwistle. John Entwistle, fantastic. Again, when I was a young lad, you know, full of kind of the sap was rising, and I was, and I used to be listening to bass players, and John Entwistle just sounded great to me because he was all over the place. Whereas if you were to ask Pete Townsend what his memories of John Entwistle were, it wasn't the most complimentary thing about his bass playing, because he was all over the shop, like, you know. But it was great. I loved listening to John Entwistle's bass playing. It was fantastic. The way that he could put that kind of top end in it. It was almost like a second guitar playing at times. Loved it. John Entwistle, number 9.
And my number 9 is Arthur Barrow, who plays on Joe's Garage with Frank Zappa. And I chose acts 2 and 3 because of Keep It Greasy. He's very good on that. Like, his little riffs in there, and he's just crazy. Very talented guy. And yeah, I mean, bonus points because he played with Frank Zappa, who I absolutely love. So yeah, number 9.
Well, hats off to anyone who played with Zappa. Fantastic. My number 8 is another guy very much in the kind of, well, at the time I used to think he was kind of in the tradition of John Entwistle, and that's Jack Bruce. Since then I've learned that Jack Bruce is just a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just incredible. What can I say? I mean, you listen to anything by him and he's just absolutely astounding as a bass player. Love it. He's rooted in jazz, but then he has the classical training that goes along with it, and he can just do anything with the instrument. Love it. I love the way he plays fretless. kind of like he's not playing fretless.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And then now and again you give that little kind of tonal thing to show you that it is. Fantastic. Jack Bruce, number 8, is it?
Yeah. Well able to take his beatings from Ginger Baker. Fair play to him, poor fella. My number 8 is Greg Lake, who is often very overlooked as a bass player. And I chose Brain Salad Surgery to talk about because he fits in so well with the lads playing on Toccata and Carnival 9. And again, like, to be able to sit in a groove while Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer are going absolutely nuts around you is a talent in itself. So, Greg Lake.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Great bass line. There's a bit of kind of baroque going on with him, with groove. So it's kind of groovy baroque. It's kind of really peculiar. It's fantastic. Yeah. Love Greg Lake. Very often overlooked. Okay, so now I'm at what?
7.
No, I've done. Let's see. 9, 8, 7. Yes, you're right.
Always on.
So I picked Chris Squire as number 7. He's absolutely fantastic. I've held up Fragile because I know it's a cliche, but come on, Roundabout, come on, it's fantastic. Very similar to the things I'd say about Norman Watt Wroy, about the way he plays on this. There's a kind of he's in that groove and he's using these ghost notes and things in it. It's fabulous. I love it. Very top end on the sound and everything like that. Fabulous. He was kind of a unique bass player.
He was.
And a band leader.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I would say is, bass players who are band leaders are very few and far between. If you think in the classic kind of rock era, you had him, Phil Lynott, and what's his name, Lemmy.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really, So most of the time, us poor bass players are kind of pushed into the background,
See, he's a bass player when it suits.
Oh no, I've just let it slip. But yeah, so Chris Squire, fabulous, yeah.
And my number 7 is John Entwistle. And I wanted to hold this up because the version of Eyesight to the Blind on it is so groovy and he does some job on that, absolutely deadly. Yeah. And of course his big axe bass in the film is unreal. So over the top, so cool. Yeah. And he was really influential and absolutely fantastic. So yeah, number 7, John Entwistle. Very
good choice. Now I'm going into the horror that was the 1980s. Okay, so I was a young chap in the 80s. Believe it or not, I was young once. It's hard for you to think that. And music scene was absolutely dreadful, and everything was plastic and synthesized and awful and everything. And then there was these kind of pop singles in the charts, and there was one load of pop singles that came out, and I used to just go, "Oh, in the name of God is playing the bass on that?" And it was Paul Young, and the bass player was Pino Palladino. I mean, my God, this guy was doing stuff that was just incredible, Yeah. Apparently, when he went in and recorded the songs in the studio, the kind of fashion at the time was to get the band in and they'd all play on the thing. And then when the band was gone, the producer would replace them all with plastic synthesizer sounds.
Jeez.
So Pino thought, oh well, they're going to replace me anyway with some plastic synthesizer, so I'll pull out all the stops and I'll do some really cool things on the bass. And the guy left him in. Thank God, because it was fabulous. Come back and stay wherever I lay my hat and these sort of things. And this is just absolutely astounding. Yeah, fantastic playing. Paul Young's a pretty good singer as well.
He is, yeah.
I saw him singing one night at Kingstonian football ground, Kingston, in England. Not in the football stadium, he was in the kind of the function room in the place, but fabulous, very good entertainer. But it's not about Paul, it's about Pino. So Pino Palladino, and whatever number he was, so that's 6. Thank God she's there with the numbers. I'm gone. You see, my age, you can't remember anything.
My number 6 is John Wetton.
Oh Jesus, yeah, great
and
choice.
I could have pulled out so many different albums. It took me a while to kind of think which one is deadly, like what's his playing really kind of prominent on it. Like
Amazing
shows UK.
Yeah.
And what a voice as well, wonderful voice.
Fantastic,
Oh my god,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
But the bass playing on this is really nice, and it's nice and deep, like sound, and this album is really good, by the way.
Yeah, it's a fabulous album, and it's like a real fat, wholesome sound on the bass.
It's so good,
it's
like
really
he's
fabulous.
class.
Yeah.
He's so cool. So,
Sadly passed away quite recently, and sadly missed. He was telling you, I was in the Worcester Park Tavern in Surrey one day, and he walked out of the toilet and bumped into me. Believe it or not, I said, "You're John Entwistle," and he
John
Wayton, sorry, and he looked at me and he went, "Yeah," and I just couldn't say anything. So it was just.
And he ran away.
Yeah, he looked terrified, like he thought I was going to attack him. I don't know, I could have kissed him or something. I didn't know what I was going to do, but yeah, I just couldn't believe it. So now, what number am I on now?
5.
Number 5. Okay. So I'm going into one. I bought this album for what is it? £1. £1 in Freebird Records back in the 80s. Graham Central Station, the great Larry Graham. And I know we're predominantly a prog channel, and I'm going all over the place because I'm just thinking of bass players.
He's thinking of talent.
And this is just fantastic. This guy. I mean, Jesus, he's in a league of his own. The playing on this is just off the charts. Like, it is just incredible. The band are so cool. I mean, they're just so cool looking. You know, we look at them there on the back. These guys just have it all. It's just it's fabulous.
Jesus.
No, this is fabulous. I mean, this guy is like an orchestra with a bass.
Yeah.
He's just covering everything. Like he could just, the whole band could stop, and he's doing drums and guitar and bass now all in one go with these techniques. This guy is just incredible. Like I think he was with Sly and the Family Stone before he went with this group. Like and laid down all those lovely, really grooving beats there. But this is just an amazing album. So yeah, Larry Graham.
Wow.
Bit of a rant there. Fanboy for Larry. Yeah.
So here's my number 5, and it's Richard Sinclair, who was with Caravan.
Fabulous, yeah.
Absolutely class. My favourite one he did is For Girls Who Grow Plump in the Night, but we don't have a copy of it, so I'm holding this one up instead, which is absolutely brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Just really, really good at what he did, and was able to give a nice little hard-hitting sound in the middle of their wonderful but weird tracks, especially in Cthulhu. That one is wow, crazy
madness. Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
Another guy who kind of got around a bit, you know. He was he's playing in Hatfield in the north. It's just incredible, like, you know. And he was with Camel as well, and he's playing with Camel. Rain Dances on that album. Jesus Christ. Yeah, brilliant choice. I didn't see that one coming. Now she's getting me. She's getting me here. So I don't know what to do. So what number am I on now? Number 4, is it? Number 4. Stanley Clark, School Days. Yes, great album this. Like I got this for about £1 in the same record shop as the Larry Graham one years ago when it was. I remember putting this on, and a friend of your mother's came around to the house, right? And I was playing this, and he just turned to me like a load, well into the album. He said, "Is that all that guy does?" I said, "What do you mean is that all he does?" He said, "Played the bass." I said, "Yeah." I said, "What in the name of hell do I want to be listening to the thing for?" This is fantastic. I mean, this guy is nuts. Like, I mean, I never got a chance to see Stanley Clark. He's still on the go, I believe. So maybe there's hope for me yet. But fabulous bass player. Like, you know, you just takes control of the music. The one thing I'd say though is that the band tends to play around him. But there's nothing wrong with that, because all bass players know that bands should play around them all the time and nobody else. They have to be the backbone. So Stanley Clark, fabulous, great tone, like, oh my god, very toppy. He's up there, he's kind of playing lead bass on this thing a lot of the time. Used an alembic, he kind of made it popular. I won't go into all that kind of techno babble, but fantastic. If you like bass playing, I mean, he's has to be up there. Fantastic, yeah.
And my number 4, I need to make sure I cover the part of it. But Geddy Lee. I can't look at this album anymore after Andy Edwards said that the guy here looks like Mark Hamill. So anytime I see it now, I'm like, oh my god, it looks like him. It does look like him.
Not that I've seen Mark Hamill in that sort of attire, shall we say,
But Geddy Lee's bass playing is brilliant on this album, and this is a really proggy album.
It's a good album, yeah.
I mean, his bass playing is brilliant on most of the albums, to be honest, and to be able to play his little synthesizers and keyboards and sing and everything while doing this is just crazy. And seeing him play with Yes when they were inducted into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when Chris Squire passed away, was absolutely awesome. Collaboration I never knew I needed in my life. But yeah, that's my number 4, Geddy Lee, and give you a little flash there.
Brilliant bass player. It's a pity he wasn't on my radar. So my number 3 then, I'm getting up to number 3 now. Going over to CD, it's Jaab Wobble. We went to see him last week, did we?
Yeah.
So this is his latest album. I picked it up at the gig. Fantastic album, by the way. What's the name of it? Everything is No Thing. Fantastic album. Brilliant. Really good. What can I say about Jay? I mean, it's a spiritual experience. I mean, he brings a lot of... If you're a bass player, a lot of it is very zen-like. You're kind of sitting in this kind of groove, and you're tied into the rhythms of everything around you and everything like that. You're listening but not listening, and there's all sorts going on. And it's a kind of a very zen place to be. Now, a lot of the bass players we've picked up to now are very... whereas Jay will sit back and he'll sit in that little groove. A lot of bass playing too is about repetition, and there's beauty in repetition. I think the track that really shows beauty in repetition, not being a jazz song, but a King Crimson number, is Starless.
Yeah.
Where you just do, and it's holding back, and it's kind of staying in that little place. Jaab Wobble is the master of that. He is just amazing. If you ever get a chance to see this man live, please do. He used to do a radio show when I was in London, on Greater London Radio, and I used to tune into it every week, and he used to talk about music, and I'll tell you, the education I got from listening to him was something else. So Jaab Wobble's my number 3.
And my number 3, speaking of King Crimson, is Tony Levin.
Yes.
Now, I picked out this one because of the start of Taylor Hun Gingies. Crazy, and he's the first guy I ever saw playing a Chapman stick as well, which is fascinating to watch. I got to see him live with Peter Gabriel, and he was absolutely awesome, but I would have loved to have seen him with King Crimson because, of course, he saw them, but he used to be so powerful on the bass with them, and the sound is so... It's like a gut punch, like it's so good. So yeah, my number 3, Tony Levin, he's absolutely fantastic.
And as if by magic, my number 2 is Tony Levin. You know, saw him with King Crimson a few times, a couple of times, twice, was it? Saw him with Peter Gabriel as well. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, the man is just... Well, there's kind of 2 sides to Tony Levin. There's this kind of great bass player, but there's also this innovator and experimenter, and some of the stuff he does is incredible. Like, he brings melody and stuff into things, and he has pushed like things like the Chapman stick and these sort of stand-up basses that he has and everything like this. He's just an amazing guy. Uses all sorts of effects and everything. Very interesting bass player. I love his work. You'd kind of tend to know him on things. There's a kind of signature sound, but it's vast. So Tony Levin, my number 2.
And my number 2 is Chris Squire. And I chose Close to the Edge because the first time I ever got goosebumps hearing a bass was in the actual title track when he goes, now that it's all over and done, now that you're fine, now that you're home, doo, doo.
Yeah.
Like, that sound was real strange to me. Like, when I first heard it, I was like, what is that? That's class. So, yeah, and I got to see him live. Thank God Dad brought me to see them back in 2009, I think.
They were on the fly from a year or two.
Yeah, and I mean, getting to see him in person was crazy because, like, I was a little kid. I was about 10 years old and he was huge, like this massive man. He was like a god in front of me. And yeah, I just absolutely love him. It's kind of a sentimental thing for me as well because I grew up with Yes. But like I said, it was the first time I'd ever gotten goosebumps hearing a bass. And it's something I've never forgotten. So he's high up for me. Mr.
Yeah, there's
Squire.
something on that, there's a chord on that to the date, and it doesn't resolve until the bass comes in and puts in the final note that makes the whole thing come together. He's just incredible. Yeah,
It was absolutely
lovely.
amazing.
Yeah.
So my number 2.
Fantastic. Now my number 1, I couldn't pick one album, so I had to have several. Jacko Pastorius, his first solo album, Don Juan's Reckless Daughter by Joni Mitchell. I mean, the bass player on this is incredible. Heavy Weather by Weather Report. Jesus, you know. I remember hearing him when I was a young lad. I was learning to play the bass, and most guys I could rip off.
Yeah.
You know, I could rip off the sound that they got and everything. When it came to him, I just had to admit defeat. I just could not copy this guy. This guy was out there, you know. He was on another realm. His the melodic feel to his bass playing and everything was just like incredible. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go on too much about him. I think there's been a lot said about him. Fantastic guy, tragic character, I'm afraid. I remember when I heard that he passed away, and I was really upset over. He was the first kind of guy that I heard that passed away that I got really upset over, you know. Absolutely love his playing, love his music. He just brings anything he's on up to another level. So Jacko Pastorius has to be my number 1.
And then my number 1 is Jaab. I'm obsessed with Ja, absolutely obsessed. Like, when I get that wrapped thing at the end of the year from YouTube Music, my number 1 is always Jaab. Like, I'm constantly listening to him. I chose Take Me to God because of the start of God in the beginning. When I first heard that, I was like, whoa, this guy is awesome.
Amazing album. For anybody
so
that
good.
isn't familiar with it, Take Me to God, Wobbles and Phases of the Heart. Absolutely, it's like...
It's mind-blowing and it's life-changing to listen to.
Yeah.
He can literally take to any genre of music. He's done nearly all of them, I'd say. Like, and this album is just, oh my God, I still listen to it constantly. I can't get sick of it. I'm just obsessed. And yeah, we went to see him last Thursday, and watching him play live is just some experience. Like, I've never seen someone so talented and so just like, yeah, this is grand, I can play away and it doesn't faze me at all. Like, his face the whole time is like, while he's just going on the bass, it's crazy. But I had to make him my number 1 because I just think he's amazing. I think he's brilliant, and you know, he's definitely not considered prog, but like I said, he can fit into any genre. And
I've heard him being called prog.
Yeah, I mean,
derogatively back in the day.
I would say he is a kind of progressive. Well, he is progressive. His music is progressive.
Yeah.
So
he's constantly exploring new things, and it is art.
Yeah.
What he does is art.
Absolutely amazing.
That album takes you on a journey. It takes you, it literally takes you on a journey around the world. Like, the music comes from everywhere, and he can just fit anything in because they play to him. He is the centre. He is like the balance within the music. He is the bass.
Yeah.
And that's fabulous. Yeah.
And
great choice.
He's got some poetry and stuff in this, and it's really funny. Like, it's really relevant, but it's funny.
Yeah.
So check it out. Absolutely amazing guy. So good. So that was my number 1.
Well done, Tara.
So
do
yeah, I'm
you
already
want to-
thinking of honourable mentions and stuff.
No, I mean, there's so many. You know, I mean, we just kind of went for this. You know, and I mean, there is a lot of people. I mean, if I had my way, a load of bass, it tends to be one of the things I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the albums that most of the collection of stuff here, there's fabulous bass players on it.
It was hard to pick out.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I'm just thinking now after talking about Jaab of Holger Ksuke, if that's how you say his name, Ksuke, from Cannes. He was brilliant.
What a bass player. Fabulous bass.
So he's my honourable mention.
I should have picked him, yeah. He's mine as well.
Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and we look forward to hearing in the comments about your favourite bass players. And if you liked it, please like the video because that really helps us, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.
Okay, all the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.